Somewhere inside your head, right now, a single cell just fired a signal faster than you could blink. You didn't feel it. You didn't notice it. But that one tiny spark might be the reason you're understanding these words at all. This is the neuron, and it's about to change the way you see yourself. Scientists call it the building block of intelligence. Not because it's the biggest thing in your body, it's the opposite. It's microscopic. You could fit hundreds of them across the width of a human hair. But size was never the point. Because on their own, neurons don't do much. One neuron can't think, it can't remember your childhood or recognize a face. But connect 86 billion of them together, and something impossible happens. A pattern of electricity somehow becomes a thought. So how does a single tiny cell create something as complex as intelligence? Let's take it apart. Every neuron has four basic parts, and each one has a job, almost like a tiny messenger with a very specific role. First, there are the dendrites. Think of them as antennas, branching out in every direction, constantly listening for signals coming from other neurons. Then there's the cell body, the control center. This is where the neuron decides something crucial. Is this signal worth passing on or not? Next comes the axon, a long, thin cable stretching out from the cell body. Some axons are microscopic. Others stretch over a meter long, running from your spinal cord all the way down to your toes. And at the very end, the axon terminals, the messenger's final destination where the signal gets ready to jump to the next neuron in line. But here's where it gets strange. Neurons don't actually touch each other. There's a tiny gap between them, so small you'd need a microscope to see it. It's called a synapse. So how does a signal cross a gap it can't physically touch? This is where the real magic begins. Inside your neuron, the signal starts as electricity, a tiny voltage spike racing down the axon in a fraction of a millisecond. But when it hits that gap, the synapse electricity can't jump across empty space. So the neuron does something remarkable. It converts the signal into chemistry. It releases tiny chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, which drift across the gap and lock onto the next neuron like a key fitting into a lock. And the moment they connect, the signal becomes electrical again, continuing its journey. Electricity to chemistry, chemistry back to electricity, billions of times every single second inside your head, right now. But here's what should really stop you in your tracks. This isn't happening in one straight line. It's happening in parallel, across trillions of connections at once. While you read this sentence, some neurons are firing to help you understand the words. Others are helping you sit upright. Others are quietly running your heartbeat in the background. All at the same time, all without you noticing. This is why neurons are called the foundation of everything you are. Every memory you've ever made, every emotion you've ever felt, every decision, every dream, every flash of creativity. All of it starts as this same simple pattern, electricity turning into chemistry, and chemistry turning back into electricity, passed from one neuron to the next. You are, quite literally, a storm of electrical signals that somehow learned to ask questions about itself. And here's the part that should genuinely amaze you. Your brain isn't running on some rare, exotic material. It's running on the same basic tools evolution has used for millions of years: electricity, chemistry, and connection. Nature didn't need anything more advanced. It just needed enough of them, wired together in exactly the right way. But knowing how a single signal travels only answers part of the mystery, because a signal that fires once and disappears couldn't create a memory. It couldn't help you learn a language, remember a birthday, or master a skill you practiced for years. So the real question becomes, how does a signal that lasts a fraction of a second turn into a memory that lasts a lifetime? That's exactly what we're uncovering next, in How the Brain Learns and Stores Memories. Before you go, here's something worth sitting with. Every thought you've ever had, every memory, every feeling, exists because of tiny electrical sparks crossing microscopic gaps billions of times a second. So here's the question. If a thought is really just electricity finding its way through the right pattern of cells, what do you think that says about the nature of your own mind?